1.
Hello,
Angel comedy people watching this.
I am
Sam Russell, and it is incredibly hot in my flat. I just had to do an improv show. Yes, because I am that cool guy where I had to wear a lot of hot costumes, but I thought I'd dress up for you and put on a tie. This is Roast Battle. For those who've never seen a roast battle before, what you're about to see is the most brutal form of stand-up comedy. 5 battles between 2 comedians apiece, each who have written 5 horrific jokes about the other person. This is your trigger warning. This is not a safe space. This is going to be incredibly brutal. If you were put off by any of the isms, leave now. There will be jokes about pedophilia. There will be jokes about the Holocaust. It's going to be just like a Conservative or Labour Party convention. I am Sam Russell. The way the show works this evening is we have got 3 fantastic judges who are going to decide who is going to be the winner and who is going to be the loser of each battle. Normally, we do this at the fantastic Bill Murray venue that's owned by Angel Comedy in Islington. But of course, due to the pandemic, we are still all locked up in our respective homes. But I have got 3 titans of the comedy industry to be judging our battles this evening, who are going to tell us who is the winner and who is the loser. First, please, big virtual round of applause. Smash the like button for Milo Edwards. Milo!
Hello. Milo. Yeah, it's me. I would say it's great to be here, but I'm not here.
No.
I'm elsewhere. I'm in an undisclosed location. I won't be disclosing my location. Do not ask.
Fantastic. You look like you might be on the set of a Tudor pornography.
Well, it's funny you should say that because I am. As you can't actually hear, there's sort of a kind of lute music rendition of the Brazzers theme tune going on in the background. I've been pulled away from the leg of mutton I was having to jizz off slightly before we began filming.
Fantastic. Love the mutton reference. Milo, what do you want to see from your battles this evening?
As ever, I'm looking for a good, clean fight. I appreciate a joke that is, I feel sort of not held back in its brutality. You know, I enjoy a joke where no one laughs except me because it is regarded as too harsh. I once saw a joke at the roast battle while judging, and one comic who was losing badly just turned to the other and said, "Yeah, well, your parents are dead." And I was the only one who laughed, but I gave them the win because I respected that as a place to go to.
Fantastic, Milo. So you want to see some proper harsh, not even jokes, just horrible statements.
Yeah, just really unpleasant comments.
Lovely. We're going to go to our second judge. We got Ben Clover, who I believe is told some sort of title when it comes to roasting. Ben.
Yeah. It's I'm actually Sir Ben Clover, and yeah, my name is Dread amongst these ships. Will surrender to other ships if they think that I'm aboard the ship that's asking them to surrender. It's a pretty sad state of affairs.
Fantastic. I'm loving the 70s era George Lucas look that you're rocking at the moment. Is that by choice or is that just a quarantine state of affairs?
He got a lot done. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing whether you later hang yourself with that tie. You know, there's all sorts going on.
Depends how bad the roasts are. What do you want to see tonight?
I mainly want to see who's doing worst at real life by the kind of room that they're in behind them.
What room are you in? It looks like a bathroom.
No, that was an option for tonight. I thought it'd be fun to press the flush after a particularly not impressive joke.
That would have been funny.
Yeah, but it would have cost me quite a lot on the water bill. So
you've not got high hopes for this evening.
No. So I've come to the greenhouse instead, where I'm hoping all the bile will help season my plants.
You are more middle class than I thought, Ben, and I salute you. Well done. And finally, we have Adam Greene, who's just come from Wimbledon.
Yo, what? Wimbledon? Oh, because I look like I'm dressed like a tennis player. Great. Yeah. Hi, Sam. How are you doing?
Hey.
It's good to be here.
Nice to have you here. What would you like to see from the battles today?
I just hope everyone gets on, has a good time. Bit of anti-Semitism. Yeah, all the usual.
Are you a Labour voter?
No, I've decided not to vote.
Okay.
Because you just get dragged into things on Twitter.
Well, I'm gonna have to ask you to vote today because it is your job in this roast battle. So hopefully you'll be fair and an honest judge, a good linesman.
Well, hopefully they're all worth voting for.
Well, hopefully they're not all worth voting for because we want some blood. We're going to go on to straight to our first battle. We have Aziz Vora versus Philipp Kostelecky. Normally we get the whole audience to go battle. But I've done a few of these online roast battles and it sounds a little sad. But you guys seem confident and ready with full vote. We'll try it once, and if it sucks and feels lame, we won't do it again. But let's try it all together. Battle.
Battle.
Kostelecky, are you with us?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Philip. Fantastic. There
Wonderful. Look at this. Look at this.
Oh my God, you look like a Mormon trying to Skype with his girlfriend in Canada. It's amazing.
Thank you. Why the hell are you shirtless?
Oh, I was doing an improv show and it was very hot. Aziz, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
There he is. Drinking wine there. Very good. Okay, so guys, you're ready for this battle. You've done 5 jokes about each other that are horrible.
Yep.
That's something.
That's
Something. They might not be jokes, but they will be sentences.
Yeah.
Who would like to go first?
Shit, I don't know.
I'll go first.
There you go, Aziz,
Right.
a gentleman and a scholar. Your first joke. Let's battle.
Phil's got a bit of a confusing background. He's half Austrian, half Slovenian, but he sounds like he's a cunt. His accent started changing a bit after his dad died when he was 16 years old, because as we all know, your accent comes from taking in the father's semen.
Jesus. I'm glad he died so I didn't have to suck his cock anymore. God, it's good for me. Aziz is so soft looking. Like, he's the softest brown man I've ever seen. Like, Aziz could probably walk on a busy tube with a backpack and scream Allahu Akbar, and someone would just go, "Oh, mosque is at the next stop, mate."
Yeah, no, Phil, I'm sorry, that was a bit harsh. I should say that Phil wasn't actually molested by his dead dad when he was younger. He was actually a Catholic altar boy. I just got confused when he told me he was fucked by a father. Phil, look at that fucking strained, weak smile that Phil's got. Phil looks exactly like an altar boy who was molested by someone who looks exactly like Phil does.
That's pretty good. So this is Aziz. His father is half Indian, and his mom is British. But the really interesting thing about him is nothing. There's honestly absolutely nothing interesting about this man. Like, he enjoys the cinema and cycling. He used to work at a production company and failed uni. But really, like, he's from Woking. That's about it that I could get on this guy. That's the interesting about him. But I do believe that he is from Woking, because there's absolutely nothing memorable about him.
Okay.
I'm boring, you fucking white fuck. He's Austrian, American, and Slovenian. The only way Phil could get whiter is by kneeling on my neck. Phil looks like Tony Hawk if Tony rode priests' dicks instead of skateboards.
All right, so that's fair. That's fair. I'm a nice mix of white people is what I am. So when I asked Aziz if there's anything embarrassing about him that happened in his life, and he said that once his twin sister and him had to be Mary and Joseph in the school nativity play, which was obviously very awkward because Aziz had to pretend that the child wasn't his.
Okay. Phil's girlfriend's, she's not from the UK, and after we leave the EU, he's really worried his heart will be broken. Nothing to do with Brexit. He's just terrified that what killed his dad is hereditary.
Jesus Christ.
You gotta get those dead dad jokes in. Gotta beat that dead dad. All right, so I really tried to find stuff that was interesting about Aziz, but honestly, like, I couldn't. I started doing a deep dive on him, and I kind of felt like I was investigating him, like I was preparing for a Netflix documentary. But then again, all that his tweets were was him talking about cinemas and cycling. Like, come on, man, give me something to work with. A documentary about Aziz's life would be like the Tiger King documentary, except if every episode of Tiger King was like that last extra episode of Tiger King. Now I realize that joke is very dependent on you having watched Tiger King, and so if you guys have it,
Yeah.
you're gonna fucking get it.
If you weren't sure how fucking white you are already, mate. But again,
that joke only works if you can afford a Netflix subscription.
exactly.
Yeah, we all know that Aziz.
Or if you've got your dad's login. Sorry, mum's login.
Last joke.
Yeah, again, once again, if you didn't know Phil was white, he's also a swimming teacher because on land the kids could get away.
Have you seen kids? They don't run fast either. Like honestly.
You would know, man.
So here's the last one so we can get this fucking ordeal over with. Aziz actually moved to Japan to teach English, which might have been an interesting story about 30 years ago. Nowadays, that story can basically be broken down to middle-class brown British man, whatever. Middle-class English man goes to an Asian country to teach English. That's it. I fluffed it in the last one.
Yeah,
fuck.
you did. It's okay. It's all right, Philip.
Your
Your white privilege will see you through.
Yeah,
So that's your first battle. I liked it. It was fun. It was a good opening. Milo, who do you like?
Well, I thought that one was quite close to call. I think really the only fair way to review it is by the backgrounds in the shot.
No,
I feel like
please review it by the jokes.
He's put a lot more effort in. There were some bottles of wine. I think all in all, it was a better ambiance coming from his end of the call. Whereas, I mean, Phil looks like he's in some kind of cell. Is he doing time for something? That's like that kind of that blacked out window aesthetic that looks like a sort of inner city prison. But yeah, no, I thought actually Aziz did slightly edge it with the jokes. I thought the fact that Phil looks slightly like Tony Hawk is like a really good shout. It's like it's not immediately obvious, but it does. Like, what if Tony Hawk worked at a concentration camp? You know, I think that's a good question that you've asked there. So I'm gonna narrowly give it to Aziz.
Okay, Aziz, that's 1 point for you. Ben.
I agree with Milo. That was a good fun battle to start with, and it was good and equally matched. I thought. No, I don't know. For all we know, it's a high point. This could be like the start of one of Tony Hawk's ramps. I mean, I also enjoyed the vibe, particularly Aziz's background, where it looks like he's a sort of a short order chef at a quite upper middle class wedding, and at any minute someone from Lithuania is going to come in and shout at him to take out the vol au vents. Either that or his parents did far better than he ever will. And his own children will be born into the lower middle classes. No, it was a good battle. I think purely on, although I empathise with Philipp, he hasn't had a lot to work with in terms of how boring Aziz is. But then he didn't lean very heavily on the obvious things about how he's like a terrorist, that kind of thing. So just because the jokes it was very close, but basically I'm going to give it to Aziz.
Okay, Aziz, you have won. Adam, are you going to throw Philip a bone? Or
cheers, Sam. Thanks. It's great to be here.
Thank you. Lovely to have you.
I really liked Aziz's joke about Philip looks like he could be. The only way he could be white was kneeling on someone's neck. That was good. I like how you then went on to point out how white he is repeatedly. That was really good, because it's good to have revelations at these sort of things. Philip, I liked when you said he was doing a nativity with his sister and had to pretend it wasn't his baby. That was good, but otherwise I thought your jokes were kind of as boring as Aziz's life, so I'm going to give it to Aziz.
Aziz,
so 3-0.
Clean sweep. There you go. Maybe white privilege isn't a thing. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Is there anything you'd like to plug before you go?
No, my Instagram is Aziz Vora. That's it.
Cool.
I mean, since I won, I'm really trying to ride on this high here.
I think it was closer than the score made it sound. The score literally couldn't have been worse.
If you enjoyed that, Instagram at CheesecakePCK.
Sorry?
You know what? No one's gonna fucking watch this. I'm just gonna Just go on.
All right, thank you, Philip. Thank you, Aziz. Right, our next battle. We got two titans of the form. We have Rick Kiesewetter versus Victor Pãtrãşcan. Let's try another battle. Battle.
Battle.
I love it. It's like being back at a game up.
You would know, Sam.
Right, Rick, Victor, lovely to see you. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Victor?
Victor's going to go first.
All right, Victor.
All right. So, hello, everyone. I'm Victor, and this is the love child of Jackie Chan and Kim Jong-un's grandmother. That's just a joke, guys. Don't worry. I feel like a joker today because I'm battling Batman. Get it? Because people say that you are what you eat. You might find Batman offensive, but I used to be called Dogman.
All right, White Che Guevara. The thing about Victor is Victor's Romanian, and he's been in a relationship with his Romanian girlfriend for over 2 years now. So I've got dibs on his first baby. Victor lives with 3 women, so he obviously wants to start his own orphanage.
Oh my God. Can you come and babysit? Give it up for the autistic child from Up. He grew up and changed gender. Rick
Okay,
has
thank you,
divorced. It's funny you what?
So thank you, amiable Rasputin.
Oh, okay. Because I'm from Eastern Europe. All right, I get it. But you're still divorced, Rick. And his wife divorced him because he went to see prostitutes, which I find ironic because he now cannot see his children. and that's not because his eyes are closed.
All right. Okay.
His children call Rick City Dad, or that's what I think they're trying to say.
That I'm your dad. Anyway, it's for technology. Victor doesn't talk about dads. Victor doesn't like anything about the UK, yet he has a strange loyalty and he never leaves, unlike Victor's dad.
Was that the joke? Thank you, very, very old boy.
Boy.
Rick is a disaster of a human being. He's half American, half Japanese, which makes him Pearl Harbor. He was adopted by an American family in the same way that he adopted that fake British accent, and also in the same way that the guy fucking his wife right now is gonna adopt his actual children.
He's fucking my wife. I don't have anyway. Look, during the pandemic, Victor has started a podcast about communist Romania during the 80s. It's called Surviving Ceausescu.
That's kind of funny. Thank you, Kimchi Rick. Get it? Because it's Pickle Rick, but he's Asian, so it's Kimchi Rick.
Okay, anyway.
Oh my God. All right. You might remember Rick from that time when he tried to warn the world about Godzilla.
Nobody listened.
Nobody listened, no.
Nobody listened.
He's an actor. He recently starred in a big production. You might not recognize him because in the films that he acts in, his face and penis are pixelized.
At least 6 pixels as well. Before the battle, Victor and I had a phone conversation, and as he was speaking, I remembered Peter Cushing was my favorite Dracula because he had no dialogue.
Okay.
Okay, you're searching. I'm getting so much reaction on the top shelf up here. Great.
Rick started comedy 19 years ago in New York, and that's the worst thing that happened 19 years ago in New York.
Victor's in Berlin right now. Is this the final one? Victor's in Berlin right now. But he is Berlin's favorite comedian because Most Romanians just try to stay.
Thank you, Kim Jong Unemployed.
Fantastic. Wow, very nice. I told you racism was coming. There we go. Ben, what do you think?
Wow, guys, it's hard to really say anything other than I think Rick was blown away by a tsunami of racism there. Kind of just a real, yeah. That was the harshest roast of Japan since 1945, and those two occasions. I mean, that's really. I mean, I'm a bit concerned though that Victor is in Berlin, because if you're in Berlin, who's running Chechnya? Kind of, there's a real sort of Urals warlord vibe to Victor that he didn't have before. Kind of, and a bit of curtain behind you, as if you're kind of some kind of high-end prostitute. By which I mean you lift your ass really high up. I'm afraid no, that was a bit of a massacre. Even though I have tremendous respect for what America's achieved in the world, I think it's time to bow out gracefully from the world stage and let Romania have the nuclear bomb. Yeah, 1-0 to Victor.
That's one for Victor. Lovely. Adam Greene.
Hi, Seb. Cheers. Thanks. It's great to be here. Are
you smoking?
Yeah.
I've not seen anyone smoking indoors since like 2001. This is really.
This is what's great about Zoom meetings. You can smoke indoors.
Oh my God! A can of Coles.
No one can stop you.
It's like being back in the park when I was 14.
Yeah, but no one's abusing you.
No, well.
So Ben's actually sat over there smoking because he's like not allowed to smoke at his flat.
Pool tournament.
Yeah. It's not rigged. That said, so I've got to judge stuff. Victor said some good stuff. Rick said some stuff. And so I'd like to make it interesting, give it to Rick, but he made it really difficult. So I'm going to give my vote to Victor. Sorry, Rick.
Okay, Victor has won. Milo, is there any fight in this, or is it a clean sweep again?
I don't think there's any fight in it, but I would like to just make a quick examination of the backgrounds
Milo,
again.
Can you please center yourself in the camera?
Sorry, it's my mic is to the side of the camera. You see, this is the issue. It's either good sound or good video. Those are your choices.
Jesus Christ!
You know, we've all got to
sound,
make sacrifices
please.
this time, Sam. Yes. So, I felt that like I really enjoyed Victor's aesthetic, because like going back to what Ben said, there is a certain sort of brothel aesthetic about the lamp. But of course, given that Victor is a Romanian who lives with his girlfriend, that is entirely in keeping with the style that his house should have. As I imagine there are several men a night coming around and paying money to sleep with her, and that's, you know, just a normal thing. Whereas Rick, I feel like he looked like he was about to star in one of those celebrity singing videos. Like the whole look of the background, I expected him to burst into Imagine at any moment. And if he'd have done that, I think he would have had more of a chance than with his jokes.
Well, that's something.
I think, yeah, exactly. Imagine there's a joke. That would be it.
Imagine I wrote a joke.
Exactly. So I'm going to have to give it to Victor as well. A clean sweep.
Right. Clean sweep. Victor, Rick, anything to promote?
This show.
Yeah. It's great.
This is a great show.
Yeah.
Don't
Rick,
turn it off.
anything more selfish to promote?
I want to promote Rick. He's an actor. Giving acting jobs.
No one's making TV or any acting.
Yeah,
anymore. It's not happening.
During the lockdown. Great.
I'm trying my best, guys.
All right, guys. Great to see you.
All right, see you guys. We're going to move on to our next battle. So, can you please give a little battle chant?
Chucks the can on the counter.
They're going to be doing heroin by the end of the show. We have got Runi Talwar versus Jason Tasker. Battle.
In that room.
There's a fun in that room.
Yeah, we'll explain later, Sam.
Oh God! All right, go then. We got Runi.
Rooney, where
hey
are
guys,
you?
can you hear me?
Yeah, we got
Yeah,
Jason.
good guys.
Lovely. Runi, Jason, who would like to go first?
I'm going to go first.
Who said that?
I am Jason.
Oh, Jason, sorry. Cool. Lovely. Jason, go ahead.
This is Runi. Runi is so progressive. He's been practicing social distancing for the last 10 years, strictly with his estranged father.
That's true. Yeah. A nice little fun fact about me. This is Jason, everybody. Jason's had a tough time recently because a lot of people don't know this. There's actually quite a big age gap between Jason and his girlfriend, which is kind of a bit of a weird topic right now. Like, there's an 8-year age gap between them, which is crazy if you think about it. Like, that means when she was 10, he would have fucked her, you know? Like, I mean, Jason's kind of like the UK's Chris D'Elia if Chris D'Elia was 20,000 times less famous and kind of looked like a Bond villain.
It's crazy, but it's probably understandable for you being from India. Really, you look like the type of person who would vinyl wrap a Toyota Prius. Rooney's love life growing up is a lot like his experiences of playing cricket in India. Struggling to get 4 or 6 and end up being caught hitting singles.
Accurate representation of my playing career. Thank you. Jason actually knows a lot about India. Jason used to have an Indian girlfriend. Keyword is used to have an Indian girlfriend. He didn't break up with her because he's racist or anything. It was a mutual breakup. He said she was too old for him. And she said there are some jobs that are so demeaning, even a minority won't do them. Fair enough.
It's just factual.
Yeah.
But to be fair, Rooney, Rooney Talwar, you are so riddled. Your name is an anagram of urinal wart.
Is it really? I got to start.
Yeah, it is. Fun fact for you tonight. Rooney's girlfriend is a childminder, or as it's known in the industry, an independent escort. All I can say is that's no job for a sister to have.
Jason's from Nottingham. That's true, which obviously, nobody really knows much about. I was Googling it. Turns out that's where the story of Robin Hood comes from. And in many ways, Jason's kind of like a modern day Robin Hood, except instead of stealing money from people, he steals their teenage daughters' virginities.
I'm surprised he had to Google that Robin Hood was from Nottingham. I just thought it was what most people with a normal intelligence level would know that.
Will be that white privilege again.
Rooney's also been living in Australia since the age of 8, and that's probably the reason all koalas have chlamydia. Rooney says working part-time in cybersecurity has enabled him to blur the lines between work and play. That's the beauty of flexible grooming gangs.
I like it. Very nice turn of phrase there. Jason was arrested as a teenager. This is a true story. He told me about this. Jason was arrested as a teenager for having drugs, but because he's white, he now works in a corporate office, which is, insane to me. It's like if you hired Jimmy Savile to be your babysitter, or if you hired Rolf Harris to run a primary school, or if you hired Jason Tasker to be your babysitter or run a primary school. You know what I mean?
I'm still trying to work it out.
A lot of my jokes are about how he's a pedophile. I'm not gonna lie.
Last joke, Jason.
Last joke. Just look at Rooney. Rooney looks like he's been radicalized by type 2 diabetes. He looks like he spent time in Guantanamo Bay being waterboarded with Fanta Orange.
What bay, sorry?
Guantanamo. That's how they say it. That's how they say it.
How they say it. Who's they, sorry?
Yeah, people who are white and privileged, obviously.
That's it. Is it last one, is it?
That's the last one, mate, yeah.
Yeah, really, last joke.
Again, mine are all on a theme. Jason grew up in a mining family, which explains why he's so into miners. That's all I had. Sorry, guys.
Oh.
Thanks, Pish Kamal.
I like it.
That was the best one. You should have led with that.
Oh, God. I love it. Oh, the pronunciation of Guantanamo Bay. That was just, I don't know. That was like it was turned into a middle-class hotspot. It was fantastic. I'm summering in Guantanamo Bay. All right. Adam, who do you like?
Hi, Sam. It's great to be here. So I think there's something wrong with my sound there because all the jokes seem to not. I couldn't hear any of them. Jason did an anagram. Everyone loves them. And then Runi attacked him for being white, which is very on point right now. There was that Pish Kumar thing at the end, which happened, and but also you criticised his way he said Guantanamo Bay, which I don't know how to say either. So the fact I learned something tonight, I'm going to give it to Runi.
Okay, that's one for Runi. Milo Edwards, who'd you like?
Well, there was a lot going on in that battle. I'm not sure any of it could really be described as jokes, but it was certainly interesting. I mean, in that respect, yeah, it was kind of like observing, I don't know, like a minor car crash on the North Circular or something like that. The kind of thing you might look at for a few seconds before moving on with your day. There was some interesting background action going on again. I feel like it seems like Runi is broadcasting from the toilets of Oceana Watford. That seems to be that aesthetic. And I think in a minute he's going to start handing out cologne and stuff to people. Jason Jason sort of crystallized a bit of a conspiracy theory in my mind that perhaps like Gary Neville has started unsuccessfully cloning himself. Like he hasn't really got the machine dialed in yet. Also Jason kind of has one of those, he has like a facial hair that's trimmed the way you might do pubes. It's sort of very unnerving. Like it would be a fine trim for pubes, but for facial hair, it's not quite right. So I think narrowly, I think I might give it to Jason because the only joke I actually laughed at was when he said that Runi looks like he would vinyl wrap a Toyota Prius, and I'm not sure why that's funny. But it is. Yeah.
Runi is confirming that was funny.
That was I also didn't understand it, but it felt like a sick burn.
It felt like it worked.
Yeah.
We're all tied up now. So Ben, this is the first time the judge actually has a deciding vote in this roast battle. Who'd you like?
I also didn't understand the Toyota Prius joke, and I feel like now's maybe the time to find out
Jason, will you explain your joke?
No, because that kind of defeats the purpose.
All right, I'll give it to Runi.
I'll take it.
No, it was a decent-ish battle. So I think everyone else has been too harsh. I didn't think it's a total no channel. I thought it was like I enjoyed it. It was like Runi was deep underwater and he's being menaced by a giant fish behind him whose two glowing eyes loom out of the darkness.
Oh yeah, I see.
Whereas Jason looks more like he's in a Dignitas clinic, and like the outcome of this battle is actually very important. It had a nice roast battle mix of kind of straight up racism, constant paedophilia stuff, and kind of pedantry to the destruction of all momentum, which I've sort of got in on as a theme.
Anytime, Ben.
No, I mean, what? You got plans? You got to do another improv gig? Is it late night improv blue? Yes, and here's my cock. No, sorry.
That was the title of my section.
Because I just hope the other guys in the troupe have done more work on themselves. Is all I'm saying. The point is, it was closer than people made it sound, but I'm gonna give it to Runi because it was just a little bit better.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well done, everyone.
Thanks, Jason.
Rooney, Jason, thank you so much for being here. Before you go, anything you want to plug?
No, nothing at all, really.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you could. It's like everyone, Twitter and Instagram. It's Rooney Tooney.
Lovely. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. We have 2 battles left. We are now going to welcome Chris Graves and Andy Casper. Ladies and gentlemen, let's battle.
Battle.
Where are they?
Oh, dear.
Yes.
Oh, there's one. Oh, my God. Oh, fantastic. Chris, Andy, welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Fantastic. We've got Andy there coming from the Norwegian prison, and Chris coming from 1994, based in the internet. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
I'll go
Okay,
first.
fantastic.
I'll go.
Chris, take it away.
Okay, yeah. So Andy Casper's like a son to me, to be honest. I fucking hate him. He's ruined my life. He's stamped on all my dreams, and I'm 90% sure he's masturbating in my bathroom.
My turn now. Chris Groves has a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful daughters locked in his basement.
I'm glad you think I can afford a basement. That's the main thing. So, my turn. Okay, wonderful. So, and Andy grew up in Kingston upon Thames. Andy grew up in Kingston upon Thames. I use the phrase "grew up" loosely because he's about 5'0". On screen, it's difficult probably to really imagine how short Andy is. But if you're watching on a mobile phone, you don't need to imagine. That's it. That's how short he is.
I think you pointed out the own flaw in that joke yourself. You know. Chris Groves looks like a bulldog with Parkinson's had sex with a potato, and the potato mother gave birth to the Benjamin Button child of that unholy union.
That sounds like something Ralph Wiggum would say. I don't really. That was such a long sentence.
Pipe down, Milo. Come on, they're battling.
Andy's the smaller of two brothers. By small, I mean younger, obviously, because I pointed out how small he is already. So he's a younger of 2 sons, and his parents admitted when Andy was born that they were disappointed because they were hoping the second one would be a miscarriage.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
My mum actually did have a miscarriage, actually.
Okay. So.
And he's
doubly
here
unlucky
tonight.
that you got through. That's a shame.
It was the one that after me. I was going to have a younger sister.
Okay, a mercy miscarriage. That's quite nice.
For many people, the coronavirus lockdown didn't change much. I mean, the young family imprisoned in Chris Groves' basement weren't going out for ice cream anytime soon anyway.
Andy's a primary school teacher. Obviously, at 3'2", he wouldn't be teaching secondary. But basically, it's been a very difficult time for Andy these last few weeks and months with the coronavirus and having to teach. You know, the school's closed, and Andy had to get used to interacting with children online, fully dressed and not masturbating.
I was masturbating.
Okay.
That's a joke. Wait, I hope has that been recorded? It was.
Yeah. Going on your UCAS.
That's not true. Chris Groves is very old. In fact, Chris has lost so many contemporaries during the coronavirus pandemic. We should rename him Chris Greaves.
Last joke. Who's that?
Okay, yeah, I don't know. Wasn't me, honestly, not this time. So I'm going to finish by just saying sorry about the paedophile joke. I realise Andy's really a primary school teacher. I shouldn't make jokes about paedophilia for him. Yeah, I do want to point out he has never had sex with children. You know, at 2'6", they just steal the sweets and lock him in the van.
Andy, last joke.
We live in Spain. I don't know if that was made clear. In Spain, you're only allowed to exercise between the hours of 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. unless you're the young family imprisoned in Chris Groves' basement, in which case every waking minute is a struggle for survival.
There we go. That's the battle. Adam Greene, who do you like?
Sam, cheers. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Well, I mean, I thought Andy had some good jokes there, but they did sound like he was reading them out phonetically in a language that is not his first. However, to be honest, after all the miscarriage stuff, I sort of stopped listening. If that's true, Chris, you should be ashamed of yourself. Andy, if it isn't, you're a genius. I've got to give it to Andy.
Andy, there you go. It's one for you. Ben.
I was very struck in this battle, seeing as it seemed to be a battle between a man and his future self. I also admired Andy's cunning, if he is as short as Chris is saying, in performing his jokes seemingly 2 inches from the camera, which is very bold. Whereas Chris has retreated right back into what looks like purgatory, a kind of entirely blank, kind of whitish space. I too was charmed by the disclosure of frankly irrelevant and horrible miscarriage material, which if you're watching Roast Battle for the first time, this is sort of what it's about. It's about people who really don't know each other very well being egregiously horrible to each other for the approval of less than 2 people online.
Yeah, and if you think about it, the whole show itself is a miscarriage.
Yeah, of promise, of all of the things that we could have been doing with this time. However, there was some nice craft to jokes on both sides.
Yep.
And I think mainly because of the turn of phrase. I think Adam was wrong. The turn of phrase was great on Andy's jokes. I mean, it's good for Chris as well, but I think just on flair a bit, I think Andy won.
Lovely, Andy. You have won. Congratulations. But Milo, are you going to throw anyone a bone?
Again, I thought that battle was possibly the most fascinating so far in terms of cinematography, both taking very different approaches. I think Ben was right to point out that Andy was sort of uncomfortably close to the camera, as though this were not a roast battle, but a divorce hearing that he was very emotionally invested in. And I'm not sure if Casper is a reference to him being a ghost, but certainly the delivery was that of one. Turning to Chris, like I was very fascinated by that kind of massive, like, is that a gaming headset? It sort of looks like something Chris Kamara would be wearing. Like that's like the only reason a man of your age would own something like that would be if you were doing online gaming to meet children. Like that is when you were retreating back towards the wall, it was to leave enough space for like the Daily Express to like put in the headline, "Are your children being groomed?"
Milo, go closer to your microphone again. We can't hear you properly.
Oh, sorry.
That's why I've got one of these.
You miss out on prime content. Exactly. Yes. Because you've got to make sure those children hear you. Their ears aren't fully developed, much like their genitals. Anyway, so who am I going to vote for? Well, I think narrowly, I did enjoy Andy's joke about the basement. I thought that was a good recurring theme. But I really, based on my own criteria from the start of the show, I think I do have to give it to Chris for the miscarriage stuff. I bet it was really uncalled for, and it was the part that entertained me the most.
Well, there you go, Chris. You got something at the end there. Is there anything Chris and Andy you'd like to plug?
I'll plug Andy. There you are, Andy. Well done, Andy.
Oh,
that sounds a bit weird. All right.
There you go.
I'd like maybe just have some more ladies on the show, eh?
We tried.
Oh.
We tried.
I'm sorry,
No,
but I
basically, we told them the lineup. We said Andy Casper's going to be on the show, and they all said no.
I don't believe that.
True. You have a reputation.
That's not true.
It is true. It is true. Cancel Andy Casper. Make him.
That is Mike.
No, I know ladies. That's not true.
Andy Casper abuses a lot of people.
He doesn't.
Well, that's for the Daily Express to decide.
Hashtag cancel Andy Casper. Thank you so much for being with us. I hope to see you again in the real world. Enjoy where you are. Enjoy your lives. See you later. Guys, we're coming to our last battle now. It's our...
What? Where did the time go?
Already?
Our last battle, yeah. We got Lee Hudson versus Peter Bazely.
Battle.
Okay, Peter Bazely there, looking like the creepiest human in the world, and Lee Hudson.
Hello.
Visuals. Are they here? Lee, can you hear us?
Yeah,
There he
okay.
is. How you going, Lee? You good?
Yeah, all good, thanks.
Okay.
Am I on? Can you see me?
No, we can't see you, Peter.
Oh yeah.
Ah, fuck. Let's start the video.
It's okay.
Okay.
There we go, Peter.
There you go.
Oh, wow, looking very
Hey,
rock and
guys.
roll.
So I've decided to do the roast battle because I'm so good at it. I've given myself electric shocks in the arm while I'm doing it.
Seems to be a hand reaching over to you. And
my
Adam seems to be
assistant.
reaching to something.
Ah.
What is that?
It's a shock. Oh.
Who's controlling it?
It's like a machine. Oh.
Okay. All right. Well, Peter, it seems like you're thinking you're so good at roast battle, you need to give yourself a distraction / disadvantage during the show. Do you want to go first?
I can do, yeah.
Okay. Peter's going to go first. It's time for our final battle.
Yeah.
Don't take it off.
Right, here we go. Here we go. Lee Hudson has put on a lot of weight since he was born. Unfortunately, being fat hasn't made him likable or jovial in the least. Oh, in fact, he is so unfunny. Dapper Laughs has asked him to be one of his 10 main joke writers. Boom.
Lee?
Okay, what can I say about Peter Bazely that hasn't already been said and insinuated in various Facebook groups this weekend? Peter is he's a self-confessed alcoholic who likes to sleep with young, vulnerable females. So when he told me that he likes a smooth 14-year-old, I didn't know if he's talking about whiskey or girls.
Lee Hudson. What are you doing? Lee Hudson used to work as a financial advisor and analyst. I tell you what, if Lee Hudson was to analyze my finances, he'd come up with 3 words. You are broke. I tell you what, Lee Hudson was so bad at analyzing finances that people used to laugh at him, which is, interestingly, is why he got into comedy. Boom! Roasted!
Fantastic. Guys, I think it's the last battle here. Who would like to see Peter's electric shock bracelet around his scrotum? I think, not see it, at least put it there.
Yeah, I wouldn't use the word see.
Let's move it down. Let's move it down. Lee, second joke.
Okay, Peter looks like Jesus if he was too depressed to perform any miracles.
Oh, it's being moved.
Yeah. No, don't put it up. Sorry. Was that it? Was that the end of it? Oh, it's come off now. Sorry. Was that the end of it?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, let's get through this, man. Lee Hudson, I think they're turned off now. Lee Hudson used to live in Toronto, Canada, but he had to leave because he wasn't racist enough. Boom, that's a joke about the recent stuff that's going on in Canada. If you haven't read the same article as me, you wouldn't probably realize how funny that is. But boom, roasted, I am relevant. That's the end of my one. Don't put it up to 9. That's crazy.
Guys, going to pause you there. Apparently, the audience is calling out for the scrotum electric shock.
No, I don't think they
Unless it's a major comedy, they want to see the electric shock on the scrotum. I don't get many private messages.
Why are you naked then?
Because it was very hot in my house. Come on, Peter. Give the people what they want. Move it down.
It's not
Move it
fun.
down.
It's not fun. It's not.
You want to win this or not?
It's not. I know. It's fine. I don't
Come on.
care. Let's just
From
get
Angel
through
Comedy,
it, man.
Audience is calling
I
for the
will.
scrotum.
I will give my vote to Peter if he puts it on the scrotum.
Oh, come on, Peter. You can win this. Move it down, buddy.
I think we should just go with the normal rules where 5 jokes each. And
Yeah, you've changed the rules. You change the rules every time. You decide to do it with electric shock. Go big or go home.
It's on 9. It's on 9. Guys, it's on 9. It starts at 1 and it's on 9.
Turn it up to 11.
Well, it doesn't go up to 11. 9's the top one. Sorry, yeah. Let's carry on enjoying ourselves because it's a bit of fun, isn't it?
Can I do my next one
Peter,
yet?
this was your idea.
Yes,
Lee, take a third joke while they move it down.
Okay. If you hadn't guessed, Peter is into self-harm.
Come on, guys. If
He's into self-harm,
now's the time.
but he's too much of a pussy to cut himself. So instead, he intentionally burns his mouth on hot pizza.
Yeah.
Or does this.
Peter, where's the
Okay. So it's on a wave system. If you didn't realise, that's why there's coming in waves. Here, let's carry on. Lee Hudson dropped out of
move it down.
Oh. Mate, you think it's a bit of fun, but it's actual electric shocks. The scrotum would last 5 seconds. We'll do it at the end. How about that, Sam?
Deal.
Yeah? All right, cool. Right. Okay, guys, sorry, let's reset. Battle. Here's my third joke. Lee Hudson dropped out of college after 3 months and didn't stop laughing. God, you can't get the assistants these days. Lee Hudson dropped out of college after 3 months and didn't bother going to university. Do you know what happens when you don't bother going to university and you drop out of college? You end up on a roast battle on Zoom with Peter Bazely shocking his arms.
This is probably going to be even more true after this, but Peter is essentially the human equivalent of a rescue dog.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah, I keep mine short.
That's very, to the point. Why not? Cut out the fat. Lee Hudson's been with his girlfriend for 13 years, no kids, and he's obviously firing blanks. Am I right, ladies? Yeah! Lee Hudson's dick is so useless, the Tory government have been in touch and they want to put him in charge. Hello! Political staff.
Last joke.
Before Corona, Peter used to work in a chicken shop, and much like the chicken he used to serve, he is greasy and destined to end up in a cardboard box.
Nice and short, nicely. Peter, it's the last joke, which I think means it's the end.
It's the one where we put it on my gonads, isn't it?
There it is.
Right, just check. Is anyone watching from my family? Because I won't do it if they are. But if they're not, I'll just do it.
We don't need to see it. It just needs to be there.
Oh, you just want me to?
I know Adam.
He really is.
I know Adam and Ben are in the room with you, so they will confirm that it is there.
No, you can't.
Yes, we can.
Man. You can't.
Yes, we can.
Dude, it's not cool, man. No, it's not cool, man. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. No, just do it.
I want it. You've got to do it yourself.
Oh. It's off. It's turned off. Don't put it to 9, obviously. So it doesn't seem to work down there. It's very dead down there.
Oh.
Don't put it up to 9. Stop. What are you doing?
Put it under the shorts.
Yeah. No more babies for me.
Last
Well,
joke.
thanks, guys. That was good, fun.
Last joke.
battle.
Last joke.
He went first.
I think I've done
Oh,
it.
he went
haven't I?
first. That's it. That's the end of the
Yeah,
show.
that's it. Yeah.
All right, there we go. Ben, who do you like?
Wow, guys. I didn't think it was possible to innovate in the roast battle form anymore, but it turns out it is possible. I already wasn't proud of being part of roast battle, but now that it's turned into some kind of genital electrical torture event, I'm even less proud.
A sentence that has never been said in humanity before.
I'm even less proud of where I've ended up. I mean, you've got to admire Peter's commitment to a joke that literally no one at home could see at all. You've got to admire Peter's commitment to a joke, which is, again, a very good metaphor for comedy more generally. And maybe, and to doing over a Zoom roast, a joke which you literally had to be in the room for, maybe, to get the full pleasure from it. I mean, to watch the people that I can see watching it, I can only assume Milo saw way worse at public school anyway, and so is unmoved by this. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing with Bazely. Lee Hudson is a fantastic craftsman of jokes, you know, and it's a shame because it's like watching a really accomplished sushi chef. Like sushi, that's it.
Please.
No, sushi is, if you haven't tried sushi, you gotta. It's like watching a really good sushi chef like work at a chicken restaurant. It's kind of pointless. Just visually, what it really brought across to me is that kind of like time hasn't been kind to Nickelback. Like not at all.
That's cool.
I mean, trying to pick a winner there.
Mom.
I mean, in terms of jokes, it's Lee.
Okay.
In terms of commitment, it's Peter. So I'm actually going to.
Lee, it's a roast battle. He wrote the better joke.
Yeah, I know, but maybe I enjoyed watching Peter suffer more. I don't know. I don't know if this is a new beginning for him as a writer. Fucking hell.
Come on, Ben.
I'm going to give it to Lee. Because those were great jokes.
There you go. Lee. Milo.
Yeah, that one was a fascinating battle in terms of the overall timbre of it. I mean, I feel like sort of Peter Bazely was coming at it as ever with an interesting energy. It was sort of the energy of like, what if you worked at a phone sex chat line for like unsuccessful guys who do the sound in a bar? Like that was that was sort of how I felt. And then Lee was a great foil to that because rather than like per se roasting Peter, he was more engaging with him as though he was doing a BBC News report on Peter and was sort of going like, yes, in fact, Peter Bazely was born in Surrey and he was educated at the Reigate School. That was the sort of the intonation of it was very calm and matter of fact, which only accentuated the kind of, I suppose, leitmotif of Peter Bazely shocking his own testicles. And it turns out not as conductive as his arm. So we've also learned some science this evening. I mean, I think I have to give it to Peter, if nothing else, for the commitment to self-harm that he displayed.
Yeah. That's not a good message for the children.
Oh, it absolutely is.
All right, it's tied up. Adam.
Thanks,
no pressure, basically. Next to you.
Happy to be here. I kind of feel like I had a slight part in that because I was holding the electronic things onto Peter Bazley's arms as he was trying to deliver those jokes. I think we've come up with a great drinking game. And I think the three of us are going to do that later.
Two of you.
Peter then I'm always going to be that way. I think the reality is he actually just did some jokes that were good. So I'm going to give my vote to Lee.
Lee, congratulations. You are the winner.
What I do want to say is, are those guys doing a reenactment of what happens in Guantanamo?
They've got a really great sous chef there. He's top of his game.
Oh, guys, ladies and gentlemen, that's a roast battle that I'm going to remember for the rest of my days. We saw some electric shocks. We heard some electric jokes. We heard some jokes about miscarriaging. It was fantastic.
Miscarriaging? I've never heard it as a verb before. So.
Miscarriaging, yeah.
What have you been up to? I've been miscarriaging. Yeah.
I've been miscarriaging.
It's called miscarrying. Anyway.
We haven't spoken enough recently. But anyway.
So, guys, that's the end of the show. This has been Roast Battle. If you've enjoyed it, please, there's a link somewhere for our Ko-fi page. Donate and enjoy tell us you've enjoyed the show. I think this has been entertaining. It's been about an hour. It's better than 3 episodes of Frasier, which you can buy from Amazon for like £2 each. We think the show's worth at least £6. Please donate £6. Click the Ko-fi link. Support the show. Peter electrocuted himself. That's worth something. I mean, America has to pay quite a lot to do that to terrorists. So please donate. Keep supporting Roast Battle. Like and subscribe on our YouTube, on our Facebook, and our Twitter, all that sort of stuff. Follow Angel Comedy. We will see you back in the real world.
Show us your nipples, Sam. Show us your. They've been out of shot the hop. There they go. I knew the areolas would be massive.
So massive.
Actually,
guys,
once you're there, before
thank you so much for enjoying Roast Battle. Adam?
Can you just improv putting a shirt on?
Yes, and that's the end. Good night from me. Good night from my judges. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.
Good night.